Brotherhood with your host, Gordon Watt from What's Cracking and everything else, and my identity coach, Miss Carrie Paluro, all the way from Florida now. I can say that. Carrie, reintroduce
Yes, yes.
yourself, and we're going to be going over and we can say what we'll be going over. It's all based on her posts and what she got going on. Carrie, what's been going on there? No
Uh,
weather, no nothing crazy.
no. It's nothing crazy. I, I, um, you know what? It has been a little crazy. Yeah.
Okay.
It has been a little wild. Um, no, my dad had surgery, so there's just been a lot of activity in the house. That's all. But
Okay.
yeah. But other than that,
Nothing.
man, I'm loving it over here. I'm loving being in Florida. And
I mean, you
you
back home, you're clear headed. You don't have no drama. You have everything else. You're doing what you're really doing, and I can tell from your posts, like if you're not following Miss Carrie Paloro or anything else like that, she makes one of some of the most deepest posts that had a lot of thought into a lot of things. This is how I know which one's going to be doing. What's up, Angie? But today's topic, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this live on TikTok, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching on the IG, if you're watching this on Facebook, please drop a comment on either those other platforms because we can get your questions live from an official identity coach to find who you are. But today's topic is how self-criticism exhausts your soul and how self-judgment is your silent driver. Carrie, please elaborate on that one because that one was really good. I was like, let me talk about this one and give her some background or on where you were, what the weight was is your picture, and how disciplined it was to get to where you are, to get your standards, your energy, your body right, but everything might not have been right because you look in the mirror and the shadow that you have going on might be fighting your self-criticism worse than anybody else could even give you, right?
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people have this misconception too, where they think of, I want to change the outside. Like, let me change.
Okay.
That's the easy thing, right? Like, and I know that was very, very true for me. Of let me just
Hmm.
change the outside, what everything looks like, and then from there, everything will fall into place. And that's absolutely not true because when we do that, we're bypassing what's actually causing the physical manifestation, if you will. Do you know what I mean? So,
Right.
for example, the photo that you're referring to, I'm like at my heaviest. I'm like at 162 pounds, I think I was.
Okay.
Um, and I was really, really unhappy. There was a lot of different things going on internally that I really didn't want to face. But you couldn't have told me that. I was out having a good time with my friends and partying and doing all the things, and um, there was a lot of like sexual trauma that I was judging myself for, and so
Okay.
I could hide behind that weight. It was like a costume.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Was it shame?
Oh my god. Yeah. There was a lot of shame, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so if let me ask you this: if women was going through the same thing, they like you go hard in the paint, work out, get everything done, all the physically, all the custom that you're doing, but the inner work wasn't done, right? The inner work of taking over that shame, secretly rejecting, just find that that safe space. What do you tell women now to find that identity inside first?
Well, first you have to identify like what's really happening. So it's like thinking about what is it that's truly happening here. The voice in my head, the voice that doesn't shut the fuck up, right? That talks shit, like
Okay,
because
okay, yeah,
we
yeah,
have
man. That's what I'm getting at, right?
yeah, like we have that voice inside of us that's just gonna sit and talk shit to us. And the problem is like she talks to me in my own voice, and I believe her. Right. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's like my own thoughts. These could be comments that people I've heard people talk about other people. These could be comments that things I've seen on TV. It's just we absorb so much information, and then for whatever reason we apply it. We like to apply information to ourselves, right? Because we are our own
Right.
biggest critic. So,
No, absolutely. Yeah.
essentially it's like every day you're waking up already behind, because your mind has already prepared yourself for the worst, and you're just kind of like scanning your body, picking it apart. Like, as soon as your feet hit the floor, it's like, okay, I'm picking myself apart, just replaying constant conversations and stuff like that, and second guessing your decisions. It goes so much deeper than just the physical part, not the
Right, right,
physical
right.
aspect of your body.
So how do you get over that in a situation? Like, how do you, like, you mean like you on the exterior you could be the criticism that you're telling yourself, you know what I mean, might be so much so good, but at the end of the day, what do you have to do to find the peace, right? Because, and how do you discover the direct link between that self-judgment and just that part of that inner circle driving the car, you would say, that drives you into the ground, because you're fighting yourself all the time, right?
There was I had a moment that it was just like a huge aha moment. It wasn't any like it
Right.
was a
Okay.
big specific moment where I was scrolling Instagram, and a friend of mine, he had messaged me and he said, "Hey, oh my God, I want you to follow this girl." Her name
Okay.
was Rebecca Antonucci, and I go to her page, and like the first post that pops up is this beautiful photo of her in a bathing suit, and it's their same photo side by side, and
Okay.
it says, what you see, and it's like fit, beautiful, intelligent. Like, it goes through this whole thing of all of these positive aspects of her, and then the other side of the photo says what you don't see, and it said self-loathing, test positive for
Oh,
herpes,
okay.
all
Okay.
kinds of body shame. And immediately when I saw that post, I was like, it just hit me that, oh my God, the reason I don't like my body is because of all of these things that people don't see. I'm actually hiding it from myself.
Ooh, that's deep. Yep.
And so
Very
she was
much so.
reflecting to
Yeah.
me, like
Yeah.
like, I love her so much. Like, that woman totally changed my life. I got the opportunity to work with her for a couple of years, and she was just everything I believe is brought to you at the right time, and
Absolutely.
she was brought into my life like right at the right time, where she was a direct reflection of what was currently happening in my body that I was ignoring.
Why? Let
Because
me ask you
I
this
couldn't
though.
see.
Why is it that that occurs? Do you think it's built up over time, or is it that you just lose control of it? That self-criticism where it's like it just becomes part of you.
Well, I think at least what happened for me is there's decisions that we've made over time, right? That maybe they didn't work out the way that we wanted them to, and so we kind of
Okay.
judge
Yeah.
ourselves for them. It's like,
Right.
oh, damn it, why did I do that? Instead of going, oh, that was a learning opportunity. Just don't do that shit again. It's like,
Right. Right. Right.
why did I do that? Why did I date this guy? Oh my God. It's like, and we sit and like beat ourselves up instead
Right.
of just like, oh, that was an experience. Like, if I think about everything as not right, wrong, good, or bad, everything is just
Correct.
a neutral experience, and I give it meaning. And so having that ability to go back and look at that from a neutral place and not from a judgmental place. I think too. So, for example, when I went into recovery, and I was doing my work in recovery, of course, we go back and look at some of the choices and decisions that we have made. However, what I was not taught to do was to go back and look at it from a neutral perspective. It was from a
Ooh.
look
Yeah.
how you harmed other people and how you harmed yourself. And I think that that's really, I think it's impactful. I think it's a very, in my opinion, for myself, I needed
Okay.
that shock factor of,
Yeah.
hey, you did some shit to
Right.
accept responsibility, right? Like, don't
Right.
sugarcoat
Right.
it. And at the same time, it was like, okay, cool. And own it, change it. Don't judge yourself for it. It's now behind you. Where it's like we
Right.
kind of like to carry the shit with us. Like, like we have the invisible U-Haul trailer.
Oh yeah, yeah. It happens to everybody because that's the
Mhm.
hardest part. In fact, when me and Doc show was yesterday about camaraderie, how important it is to iron sharpens iron for men, because you
Mhm.
need that hardcore person to hold you accountable, and you also have to have yourself hold yourself accountable for what's going on inside mentally and emotionally. Now, like us, like a real good friend we was talking about yesterday, it's like if you can accept that feedback from that camaraderie or that friendship, right? You need that, and then you got to take that into and run with it, because if not, you're only just doing fluff. And like you says, when you paint a picture of everything that's going on, you might just, it wasn't just you're out of shape. It wasn't just you're 50 pounds overweight. You, the diagnosis of your situation and everything, and the carrying the shame of, everything that's in your post, the abortion, it doesn't make a difference, because if you don't take that self accountability for what you got going on and moving forward and learning from it and taking that responsibility, you cannot close the door on it, right? There's no
Nope.
way you can do it. Now, how does self-criticism drive the future, Carrie, though, if you didn't win versus if you do take advantage of that whole situation? What's up, Cindy, my mother-in-law?
Oh, hi. That's so cool. So self-criticism. So every day I have the opportunity to set myself up to win or to lose, right? And so
Right.
I believe in like priming ourselves to where, every morning I wake up and I sit in my bed for probably like a good 10 or 15 minutes. And I just started to kind of do a little breathing exercise. And I start to think about what it is that I have gratitude for, the people I have gratitude for, just get into a specific state,
A space,
a state,
a
like a
state. Okay.
complete state, an
Okay.
energetic state of
Okay.
how I want to start my day. Because if I don't do that, I'll go back to the default setting, which is,
Mm,
like self beat up.
reverting back into
I
all
have
that
such
self-loathing
practice in
and all that.
that.
Yeah. I
And I
mean, it's
think
a
that's
big deal, though. That's huge.
It is. It is. I mean, and I know so many people are like, well, we blame our parents and we blame this and listen, it's just like all around us. It's TV. You know what I mean?
You
It's
can do any,
movies.
I mean, anything you can
It's like
pick.
any type of anything that you're consuming, whether it be a book or a podcast or like material in, material out. Like you're getting the same shit that you're taking in is the same shit that you're putting out. So if you're taking in negativity, you're putting out negativity. And unfortunately, you're going to be the prime target.
No, that's 100% true, because you got to understand, like one of her posts says it, you're strong enough to lift the weight, but you're not honest enough to drop what's actually holding you back or what's actually heavy, right? That's a
Yes.
deep one,
So
right?
this post was really inspired by when I was personal training, and I
Okay.
loved personal training. I loved my clients, and we could get them results, and I loved it. I loved to get people physical results. That made me so excited. This is back when I was doing competitions, and then the
Right.
one thing that I would notice is that when my clients would, let's say, they went on vacation for 3 months. I had a lot of stay-at-home moms, and so when the kids were off, they would take time off, and then they would come back to me, and it was like, what happened? Like, who
Right.
are you? Like, you didn't maintain it. And so it was, I kept thinking, I'm like, okay, are they like, they just don't have the discipline. Noticing the conversations that we're having, like they're constantly complaining. And I'm just kind of like, man, you guys you have a pretty good life. You know what I mean? Like you
I
don't
mean,
work.
if you
You're
when you
taking
think
care of
about
the
it, I mean,
kids.
I'm
Like,
in that
I mean,
situation. I'm Mr. Mom right now.
yeah. Yeah. And so it really is all about perspective. But one of the things I didn't know back then, because I hadn't done this work back then, was
Mhm.
that it was also all of the experiences they had that were affecting the way they were showing up. So all the experiences in their life,
Mhm.
like whether they were like abused or any
Everything.
relationship trauma, like it was
Yeah.
all of it was like just festering inside, right? And that was affecting the way that they saw themselves and the way that they were showing up to their life.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think, does it start inward as far as like covering up all that trauma that you do physical activity to put that mask on or that superhero cape on? Explain that, or is it more of an ego thing?
I think it's both because it was like for me, I was trying to, to out train it, right? Like if
Right.
I if I can fix the outside, you won't see what's truly driving me on the inside.
Mhm, mhm.
And I think it's a natural coping mechanism that a lot of people have where they hide. I can be super successful on the outside. I can make everything look all pretty. It's like, the people on Instagram that especially like the models, right? I'm going to
The
use them as an example
influencers
only
and all,
because
yeah,
their aesthetic is visually pleasing, right? And so they
the
have this
optics, yeah.
visually pleasing aesthetic, but then you really don't know what their real life is like. Nobody does.
Because nobody knows, because they're the only one has to look in the mirror, and what they put
Mhm.
out on IG and what they put out in social media is not going to be as, just so I would say, figuring it out. Thanks, Cindy, for
Aw, that was
that
so
tone
sweet.
body, because like you said, you want the tone body, you want the strength, you want the discipline, you want the confidence, you want the progress, but you're not applying that to the inside first, right? Because if you don't apply it to the inside first, I mean, I'm guilty of it also. Everything used to be external. Everything was about money. Everything was about power. Everything was about
Mhm.
respect. Everything was about, this is what I can get. This is what about who can stroke my biggest ego. All for what? To cover up my attention that I didn't get as a kid, right?
Yeah.
Begin, and then that's where self economy, and then me and Doc talk, and it's like we wonder, like, why I have so many issues that I had to fix for myself to become the person I am today, right? And then that way, you're not like what she's her quote. You're not like dragging yourself through wet cement,
That's what it feels like. I mean, if I think about it,
right?
like I was
Emotionally,
fucking ruthless. Like everything that I did had some kind of commentary, like, well, that wasn't good enough, or you should be further along. Look at your body. I don't like my legs. Why did you say that? Like I would be replaying things all the time, and so there was the constant narrative was you're doing something wrong or you
is that
are
what you
wrong.
told yourself all the time, even though
Oh
you
my
didn't?
god,
The
yeah.
progress was there, the progress, but you wanted the instantaneous self gratification result physically to cover up everything. But how do you reflect back on it now?
Well, I look back and I'm like, damn, I was a bully to myself. I really was. I was like the biggest bully. Um, but recognizing too that, okay, self-criticism, it did play a role that worked for me for a period of time. You know what I mean? And so the role that it played that worked was knowing that I could do better, right? And so
Mm.
it would put a fire under my ass to do better. However, after like at a certain level, like there comes a point where you get to be pulled into the life that you want to create, right? Because you recognize that you're the creator. You're not being pushed and driven by like negative consequences or reacting to life. Does that make sense?
I mean, break that thing down in a sense where, if somebody is going through this right now, I mean, because you got women out there trying to be so much and then some, all for what? Nothing, right? You trying to get women trying to get high value, thinking they're somebody when they're not, because they're all covering something. Basically, they're
Mhm.
covering something up that's not even fixable until they fix themselves, right? And all this stuff you're saying, it applies to the dating game, the relationship game, the self incurred infliction maybe of yourself, even the motivation part to get it to move into, say, just like a perfect example, relationship with your dad, right? How great that relationship with your dad now that you had all this inner work and you figured out, you took self accountability and everything else, because you stayed consistent,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
improving. And you might not see, guys, if you're watching this, you might not see the work today right now. If you stay consistent, you will see it 3 months, 3 years, and you're gonna look back and you'll be like, holy crap. Like, why did I put myself through this torture for? Because that's what I tell
Yeah.
myself too sometimes, like, why? So paint a picture for somebody, a younger you, that somebody watching this or watching this on replay, on the clip, somebody that's watching you, right, watching you, and figure that this is what you figured out and how to correct it.
Okay.
Because
Well, tearing yourself down doesn't work. Really, because
nice.
your nervous system stays on edge. You
Oh,
don't
okay.
feel safe to grow. You hesitate. You're going to hold back. It's like you're trying to grow, but you're standing on this. Yeah, like you're trying to drag yourself through cement. You're standing on a foundation of
Interesting.
self
Yeah.
rejection. essentially, is what you're doing. Um, because you've been taught and you've conditioned yourself that being hard on yourself equals high standards. And
Okay.
that
Okay.
like easing up on yourself means you're lazy. And so you put pressure on yourself to keep performing, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Perfectionism thing, right? But if I take an honest assessment of myself, it's like, how's that fucking working? Because
Yes, bottom line. It's the bottom
yeah,
line. You take a self-assessment, right?
because you might look pretty on the outside, successful on the outside, but inside you're not fulfilled because you're in this like constant state of trying to achieve, and you're just not enjoying your life. That's the reality.
Correct. I mean, because let's see from a guy's point of view, from my point of view, right? Does it help to have guys with purpose, like how women need purpose, even for guys? Do you think that's like a high and on top list to stop criticizing yourself, to find that purpose within yourself, to have a cause for both women and men?
A vision, yeah, absolutely. You get to have something that's driving you because that's what's going to pull you.
Now,
And
what are oh, go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, and there's simple things you can do is just stop attacking yourself, stop rushing yourself, or have putting expectations on yourself. And then you just begin to like back yourself up and listen to what's happening inside your body. Like there's a lot of other things going on, choosing myself, creating the standard for myself.
So when you say creating a standard, right? Now, is
Mhm.
a standard and attributes different, or do they mesh? Do they stay in the
I think
gray
they
area?
can
Like,
mesh. I think they
okay,
can mesh, but like setting the standard of like, okay, I'm going to get up at 5:30 and I'm not going to hit snooze. Like it starts in the little itty bitty
the
things,
small things.
the small
Yeah,
things,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
not hitting snooze, getting up anyway. I know Mel Robbins does this whole thing when her alarm goes off. She's like 3, 2, 1, and she gets up. I'm like, look, I can't do that shit. I just got to like, let me just get up. Like, I don't want to sit there and do a countdown. Uh, I'll count down to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to do that. But it really is just being easy on yourself. And for me, it was adopting this brand new idea that nothing's right, wrong, good, or bad. It just is. And if as long as I stayed in that mindset, then
Mm.
I could approach things from a neutral lens. But like that doesn't happen overnight, and I'm not perfect
Oh
at it.
no.
Like for example,
Oh no.
last night we
Okay.
I stayed up late watching a show with my dad, and then I tried to get up at 5:30. I think I get to bed like around 12:30, 1 o'clock. I'm trying to wake up at 5:30 now. I'm cranky, man. Like, I mean, I wake up, I already feel this, and I'm like, oh, I didn't set myself up to win. Um, and it's knowing, oh, well, the standard that I have is going to bed at 9:30 and waking
Okay.
up at a certain time in order to do everything that I want to accomplish in my day. And I did not do that. And it's okay. It's not like a
No, but
judgment thing.
you had
It's like,
situations,
oh,
something happened to it.
notice that there's a reason why we set standards, right? Like like for my health, for my mindset, like because I know my body, like my mind is going to follow my body sometimes. So if I wake up
Okay.
and my body's tired and feeling icky, then my mind starts to go there. It's just a
Okay. Okay.
natural thing. Your body, you're just going to react. So it's just knowing that. And I was like, oh yeah, I feel this today. And it's not wrong. It was just notice that this is the reason why you stick to your schedule. And
No, I mean
like
that's
you
yeah,
created structure for yourself for a reason, Carrie.
yeah.
And and it's okay to go outside of that every once in a while, but you're going to remind yourself why you don't.
No, that's 100%. I just like, hey, what's up, Carl? The President's King. He talks in front of a dancey hip hop. My guy right there. Just want to say hello. But understand, like when you look in the mirror, like your other post, right? You didn't see potential. You seen regret, guilt, damage. Basically, a woman trying to outwork what she hated about yourself. About yourself, please, because that shit right there. I'm like, holy smokes! I wonder how many different women think like this, in a sense that I wouldn't even think about it, right? How does that? You know what? I can only imagine because I guess maybe I've been through so much. It's like I look in the mirror, I'm either going to break it, smash it, do something about it, but I'm never going to feel regret, right? Or guilt or even damage. But from an emotional standpoint, right? From your point,
Mhm.
what does it all mean?
So when like my body, I know my body is not the problem. My standards are the issue. Because I can keep
Okay.
saying that I want to look a particular way, or I want more energy, or that I just want to feel good.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if my actions don't match, if they're still negotiable, then
Ooh.
I'm not going to get there. Like, so it's like
Ooh.
I hit I I hit snooze. I don't get up. I skip my workout. I push it to tomorrow, or like I abandon myself again. I don't speak up when I have the perfect opportunity to say what I mean and say and
Yeah.
ask for
Yeah.
what I want. I don't speak up. And then at the end of the day, I'm like looking in the mirror like, why don't I feel good about myself? It's because I didn't show up for me today.
You didn't show up for yourself, and that's
Correct.
the part that oh, okay, that makes up that whole a lot of difference. But then communicating with yourself also has a big part. And how does you communicate yourself? Give me an idea how you communicate with yourself so that you're not basically sabotaging yourself, right?
Hmm.
Because if you're sabotaging yourself, that's when you just lose yourself, right? How do you communicate with yourself in that way?
So I love I am statements. Um,
Oh, I mean, okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I love that. However, I get to be compassionate with myself. So when I catch myself with that negative thought of,
Deep. Yeah.
you like, don't wear that. You look like shit. Do you know what I mean? When I have
But then,
those thoughts.
how does that affect? Like, say, like for women, they're gonna ask like Andrea. I'll give you a practice. She's gonna go out. She's gonna go out with the girls. She's gonna put on three different outfits. She's gonna ask me which one I like, right? So I'm kind of applying that to that, right? I'm like, okay, depending on the situation, depending where you're out, who's gonna be there, how are you revealing you're gonna be, or is it gonna be fun? Because you know what I mean. So it's like, are you doing that the same thing for yourself also? In that, say, I guess would you say, um, example?
It's funny is like I used to do the same thing with Abel, and
Right.
so what he said to me, he was like, which one do you feel really good in?
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
And I
mhm.
was like, oh, and so I started to think about it like that. Like what do I feel really good in? What's going to light me up? And so when I start looking at it from that perspective, then nothing is every day something else is going to light me up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Ah, no, absolutely.
it
Because it
depends on
changes.
so many different
Depends
things.
on factors,
Yeah.
what's going on during the day, who you're gonna see, all that crap.
Yeah. So I
This
just
is just
follow what
one thing.
lights me.
Yeah, right. Another quote that you have today, right? No amount of workouts or dieting fixes what?
No amount of
What do you mean?
no amount of dieting. Finish the statement because you didn't finish it.
Right? Because shame doesn't burn off; it buries
Oh,
itself in your body. Right?
yeah. Yeah.
Please elaborate for the viewers or for the people that's going to watch this. What does that really mean? Because there's
So
deeper meaning with it.
there is. And so I think in order to really digest that, you get to define shame versus guilt. So shame is when I think that I'm bad and I tell myself I'm a bad person. And guilt is, oh, I did something bad, right? It's still all a label, but it's important to notice the distinction between the two because shame isn't going to burn off. Shame is
No,
going to be there because if I truly at my core believe that I am a bad person, I cannot outrun that belief. There's
no
nothing I
way.
can do.
No way.
I
Yeah,
can't
no way.
dress as a particular way. I can't work out hard enough. Like I will always feel, or I will always believe I'm a bad person and feel like I'm a bad person because I have that underlying belief. And it's usually
Right.
around something that has either happened to me or a choice that I made, a decision that I made, and that I'm judging myself for.
Do
So
you do it
that's the
now?
important. Pardon me.
Do you still do it now as much? Or give me like a
No,
level
I
like,
think that I'm quicker to snap out of it now. Like
oh,
shame is the
okay.
lowest frequency, is the lowest vibration. So I catch it when it's coming on. It's like I
Oh,
know
I
I'm not a bad
see.
person.
Hold on.
But
Let me
the
ask.
thing is like
Yeah.
it's like today I know I'm not a bad person. And I also I get to consistently reinforce that belief that I am not a bad person. Like I can make a mistake. It's okay. Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Of course, no. I mean, even for some of my people, and what's up, John? John, even for my guys right here, like, even though we did criminal activity, even though we did everything under the sun that to get us in prison for a very long time, it doesn't make a difference because I never did think of myself as a bad person. I just
Hmm.
thought of myself as covering up bad stuff that I was like um, covering up for the attention I wasn't getting because of my childhood, right? So now when I'm showing up as a changed person because of all the crap I've been through, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you say it drains your energy from your nervous system and disconnects from your own body, what do you tell other women that's going through that same problem? Because you can catch it, like you said. How do women catch it and how to not fix it, but like at least know that they're going through it? Because some women might go off the deep end or try to find other ways of coping with it.
Yeah, and so I think it's important to recognize too that there's certain things that are going to trigger or like affect an emotion in your body. So it's like I feel this, I have a feeling, and then my mind gives a definition, and then
Okay.
now I'm going to run, like now I'm creating an emotion around the definition that I gave it, right? So it's like this little cycle that I have, and
Mm,
if I'm not self-aware, I'll just let it go, and I won't catch it, and I'll just follow the reactivity of the moment and into, I could go into like a negative state of mind. And I'll use an example. So I was in a group the other day, and a young lady was sharing her story, and it was around like body dysmorphia and um, it like her struggles with food and stuff like that. Now,
okay.
a
Yeah.
lot of what she was sharing was things that I experienced, even though this was over like 25 years ago. So I'm listening to her story. I'm
Mhm.
noticing the emotions that are, well, I'm noticing the feelings that are coming up in my body. So I'm feeling this in my chest. I'm like starting to sweat a little bit. Like I'm
I was
starting
gonna
to
say you're
feel
relating so deep to it.
so deep to where like I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I haven't felt like this in a hot minute, you know?
Yep. Yep.
And so I'm like feeling these emotions. And then immediately I was like, it's because this was who you were 20 something years ago. And
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
just reminding you of that. And so immediately I went into, God, I'm so different today. Right? Like I shifted. I could have followed that reactivity and started to like punish myself and judge myself for all of those moments. But instead, I was like, oh my God, you know what? I'm so grateful that she's here, that she shared that story. Because I'm one person in this group that can identify with parts of her story.
You can
And
relate
just
to it.
imagine if she shared it with the world, how many other women could relate to that story. And so I started to look
Absolutely.
at it from a different perspective. And that was the feedback that I gave her was like, oh my God, thank you for sharing that
Mhm.
because you never know how many people you're going to touch. So it,
No, I
it was,
100%.
it's just learning that there's going to be triggers that run through my day. Like we're constantly like reacting or responding to outside stimulus, like all the time. So it's like being self-aware and recognizing that, like, okay, if I'm feeling something uncomfortable come up, like, do I have to give it a definition right away? You know what I mean?
I mean, here's the part, like because you've put so much work into it, you can catch it yourself. That's
Mhm.
what you. That's why you're a identity coach from Worthy as AF. With you know what I mean? Because at the same time, right? Because you can relate to it and you pull yourself out of it. It seemed like how Andrea, right? Andrea used to be big, and she still has that in her mindset. I keep telling her like, but it will never go away. It's how you deal with it. Yeah, it never goes away because it's one of those things that I
Yes.
guess is it hard for women to kind of like let it go in that sense?
So, I mean, I can only speak for myself when it comes to like body dysmorphia, and like what I see in the mirror is not what other people see. And it doesn't
Yeah,
matter
because
how
you,
skinny I
yeah,
am,
yeah,
or how fit I am. I
right,
still see the same
the
thing,
same girl.
the same girl,
Yeah,
and so it's constantly it's just being able to go back, and it just means my work is not done. I just keep You're like, okay, what else is there that gets to be revealed to me? I'm certainly not like I was before. And I'm grateful for
Hmm.
that, but it still doesn't go away. Like you catch me on a bad day, I look in the mirror, I'm like, whoa. Um, but yeah, and it's generally around just being responsible. It's like when I'm responsible with setting myself up to win, that I'm going to feel good. And so what I
Hmm.
see in the mirror is going to be very different than when don't set myself up to win.
So how do you tell women to break out of that? Or I didn't say how to handle that in that situation. Because say you look in the mirror, right? You might look in the
Mhm.
mirror, you might be all of this and then some. You haven't gained 1 pound, but you still feel the same inside, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Now, where does the breakthrough come through so that you don't do it as much, right?
I think there's so many different ways you could approach it. But as you're asking me this, one of I had a very impactful exercise from Jamie Crawford. I know you know her.
Okay, yeah,
Jamie.
Jamie.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
gave me an exercise to stand in front of the mirror naked and
Okay.
write down everything I did not like about myself. Or actually, it wasn't even about what I didn't like. It was write down everything that you see and your thoughts. And I was like, oh, okay, I will. And I just like wrote all kinds
Did
of
how long
craziness.
was the list?
Oh,
Was it
it was
long?
like 2 pages. It was
No
insane.
way.
Yeah, this was wild. Now, like, mind you, this is like 8 years ago. This was a really
Okay.
great
Okay.
this was an impactful exercise.
Okay. Yeah.
And so then she had me go back and she was like, all anything, any part of your body that you deemed as negative, um, I want you to write how much you appreciate that part of you and what it does to support you, because every part of your body has a purpose. And so it was like,
Hmm.
oh my God. So I assigned purpose to that part.
Nice.
And
Nice.
so it really is
Nice.
like essentially that's what I'm doing for myself. That's the work,
Yeah.
is assigning purpose to myself.
Hmm.
My like getting in touch with my vision. And that is the work. But that was a very impactful exercise that I did. And then and
That's
just
a good one. Yeah.
and it was difficult. It was emotional. It was very difficult because I was so conditioned to looking at the negative. I really had to be mindful and stop and think about, oh my God, all of these parts of my body, they like I'm really like a walking miracle. Like everything is working together to support me.
But you understand it now. That's the whole
Yes.
thing. Now that you
Well, yeah.
understand it, yeah. Because if you don't understand that, you're just going to keep going down that path over and over, the same thing over and over again, right? So
Yeah.
the look at trying to out train your shame, right?
Hmm.
Right? Right? You dropped away. Okay, you fine. You tell the truth about yourself. You kind of feel good about yourself. You reclaim your body. And then what happens to your self confidence and self worth? Because now criticism not driving. You're
Right.
actually pushing your self worth, your value, things that you're gonna make you the self doubt, even though it's creeping in there. At least you can kind of like control it, right? So
Right. It's a new identity. You are taking
exactly
on
that.
a
And that's yes, because that's what you do for women now. Because you've been there where they are at right now,
Mhm.
and then you can push them forward by knowing this whole woman method that you've created by being that identity coach for yourself, because that in itself creates an ambience of self-worth that until you figured it out yourself, you're just going to be grabbing at straws trying to figure it out. And then when you come to you, right, it's like, let me guide you, let me find your full potential. How does that resonate?
Yeah, as you were talking, I was just thinking about the work that I did with Rebecca Antonucci, where we went back and looked at um, pivotal moments in my life that
Mm,
affected the way that I saw my body, and
mm,
and that was how I was able to like uncover even more than, because the first thing, like the one thing that attracted me to her was, oh my God, she's talking about testing positive for herpes. Like nobody talks about that. Um, and that was the moment that I realized, oh my God, I'm like holding that secret. And and I love this saying. Someone told me a long time ago, secrets keep us sick, And
That's so
really,
true.
yeah, like secrets just keep us chasing, like
Yeah.
running. Secrets keep us running. And
Right.
whatever we're running from, I promise you, is faster than you and will always catch you.
Oh, absolutely. If not, it'll just it'll kind of like it'll like surpass you and can start controlling you. In fact, I mean,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
when 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 that happens to some of your clients, right?
Mhm.
What is the first exercise systematically that you let them know to do, at least from your experience?
Everybody's different. And I
Or what's the
really
common denominator then? That what give me one common denominator you always see over and over and over again? Because there's always going to be one.
that there is impactful moments in our life, and they can be good, or we can label them good or we can label them bad. It doesn't matter, but there's always these impactful moments in our life that have affected us that we just don't realize. And so
True.
by giving them that work to look through, and it's not about like unhashing it, right? We're not unhashing it. We just want to look at, oh, what did I make this event mean about me? In that
Sure.
moment, I made a decision. I made it mean this, and then I ran with it and created a whole narrative and wrote like some kind of fucking fairy tale around it. You know what I
I mean,
mean?
but that does make sense because whatever you tell that fairy tale to work around it, it's only covering up a lot of the insecurities and the self criticism, and it's only a patch, right? Now, if you're
Exactly.
working on with if you're working around with just all patchwork, that's gonna and then that band-aid's gonna come off, and you didn't really heal or you didn't like stitch it up correctly. That thing
Mhm.
is gonna break, and then everything's gonna start out flooding, come all of it through. Now, last question, right? The last question. This is a, from a scale from 1 to 10.
Mhm.
Body shaming, self criticism, self doubt. What is the counter to that to for women that want to move forward? Because like I said, if we recap everything, when you went from you lifted weights, you worked out, you lost 100 pounds, you toned the body, all to cover up the shame,
Mhm.
right? Self doubt, the inconsistencies, the regret, the guilt, the damage, all of that good stuff. What would be the number one thing that you could tell to put a notch in the identity for women that want to just gain themselves back instead of dragging themselves through wet cement, like you said?
The most impactful thing for me was seeing the truth of who I am, and
Nice,
that's the new identity. It's like
nice.
I get stuck. So, like, we're always creating, right? And I'm always creating this new identity. And in that moment, wherever I'm at right now, this isn't the truth of who I am, because I'm constantly evolving into a newer version of me. And um, if I knew the truth of who I was, if I know the truth of who I am, then I know that um, I am perfect, perfectly imperfect in
Of
all
course.
areas,
Right,
right?
right, right. I mean,
And there's no judgment around anything. There's no judgment around. This is all, if I look at it from a learning perspective, if this is just, I'm just kind of going through school, just kind of just learning. And if
that's
something
it.
doesn't work, I just keep going. It really is mindset. It's all about perspective and mindset. And I know that was very difficult for me to understand in the very beginning, because I'm
Mhm.
like, what do you mean I just changed my perspective? Yes, you get to change your perspective, but you also get to look at why you created these other beliefs, right? Because the beliefs that you've created are affecting your nervous system, and then that is triggering how you're showing up physically.
Absolutely. I mean, that I couldn't have said it any better because perspective is everything. How you look at it, how you deal with it, how you change it, how you flip it upside down, backwards, and to see it from a different light will change how you feel about yourself. And
Mhm.
let's leave on that note because that one, that driver of self criticism and everything else will never change. It's how you're going to look at it upon yourself and in the mirror, right?
Mhm.
Because when you do that and you put in that work, it, it'll benefit you 100 times fold. Very much so.
Yeah.
I mean, Carrie's walking. I'm living proof of it. Carrie's walking proof of it. Everybody's You just got to find out what stage you're in or what season in life that you're in. Like that Price is Right, the game that goes up the mountain, the da da doo dee da, and it falls off the cliff. You're either gonna fall off the
The
cliff
little
or you can
yodeler.
get the number, the yodeler, right?
Oh my God. I can't believe I remember that. That's so
Of course.
funny.
Yeah. But that's the life, right? You either going to go
Yeah.
to a number, fall off the cliff, or keep learning along the way. And guys, if you want to work with Miss Carrie Polero, you can find her on all social media. It's Carrie Polero at Carrie Polero for worthy as fuck. But at the same time, find out where she's at, because some of her posts are so deep. Like, I got a comment on the side. Like, the last one's like, man, you're hired.
That was
Carrie,
awesome.
end the show, and we can do something so you can go see what your dad's up to.
Yeah, I think a quick little shift in like sharing a new lens would be like, look at what you did and not what you didn't, because your brain's always going to default to what I didn't do, where did I fall short, and the
Mhm.
simple task of just like, what did I follow through on today, where did I choose myself, like where did I move like the truth of who I am, and like that right there is really super powerful if you just are consistent with that.
Beautiful. That works. Guys, if you have any questions for us next week, we're here Fridays. Me and Doc is on Thursdays. Fridays is me and Carrie. And we'll see you next week, guys. We'll see you next week. Aloha. Bye. Doop.